Hello and welcome to the Raising Athletes podcast. My name is Kirsten Jones. I'm a peak performance and sports parenting coach, host of the Raising Athletes podcast, now closing out its 7th year, and author of Raising Empowered Athletes. How do we raise not only strong athletes, but more importantly, extraordinary people? I started this podcast in hopes of helping others that are navigating this same journey. We all want what's best for our kids. We're all trying to figure it out. And if you're like me, you're making mistakes every day, trying to do do-overs, take backs, wanting to help your kids on the path to their best journey and their best life. And part of my journey, I think it was about two and a half years ago that Lonnie and I met, and Strong Girls United came into purview, and we connected and started talking about like-minded mission. And Lonnie, who is the founder of this nonprofit, which is really in support of really helping girls navigate the sports journey and allowing them to have opportunities that they may not normally have. It's been a really fun. You may have seen some posts that I've done or some speaking that I've done in collaboration with them. And thankfully, I'm on the board. And so I get to meet with all of the amazing women that are on this board and that are working with Strong Girls United. And today's guest, Nicolette Caneda, is one of the team members and gets to work daily with Lonnie. And what an amazing gift. So thank you so much for being with us today, and excited to share your journey with our audience.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I loved your note. She texted me the other day, like, I'm just thinking about you and I can't wait to be on. And I'm like, oh, that's the best thing ever, right? Like, to know that you're excited about this. You will, if you haven't already noticed, this is my jam. I love doing this. I love talking to others and hearing their journey, because I think we can all learn from others. And when we do that, sometimes we have things that are like percolating in the back of our minds of like, I kind of wanted to try this or go in a different direction. And we sometimes need permission. And I love your story, and I'd love for you to share it. Talk about, where you grew up, what your sports journey was, what you remember of your parents' support or not. Like, share all the good stuff on how you got to where you are now.
Totally. I mean, everything that you've said so far, like, completely aligns with me and kind of why I'm here and why I've chosen this path for myself. It was not always clear cut. I think that a lot of the things that were clear cut for me was very focused on soccer. So, like, not to get too ahead of myself, I grew up on Long Island and I have been playing competitive soccer like my entire life. I always knew I wanted to play in college. That was like my main goal. Every little paper that I did in school that was like, what do you want to be when you grow up, was always a professional soccer player, right? But then I, had a more realistic view. It was like, college is the goal and I'm so excited to get there. And I really made it like my job, but it didn't feel like work. But I fell in love with soccer immediately. My dad played growing up. He put me in soccer and he was my coach for a long time, which was a really, really special thing for him and I valued it so much. Like, I miss it all the time. He's still my favorite coach to this day. I mean,
Aw.
I will
Well,
tell him that.
let's stop
And
there.
I mean it, not just because he's my dad.
Yeah, let's stop there. Like, I want to hear. So, and this is a beautiful thing, and I get this question a lot, right? Is parents want to get involved, but sometimes I actually was talking to a dad yesterday, and he had interviewed his daughter after her experience, and he asked, "What is there anything you'd like to change in your childhood experience of soccer?" And she said, "I kind of wish you would have missed a couple of games. Like, it was too much for her." So, talk to us about what made that such a beautiful experience with your dad.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of the time where, like, while I was in it, it felt hard because you have this person that you just all I cared about was his opinion, right? Like, and that is given when you always care about a coach's opinion, but it's like I cared about the coach's opinion on the field, but then also in the drive home and like the drive to the game and then to practice and at practice. And it was hard to separate. And I think that I was very like in search of feedback all the time from a very young age. I always wanted to know, how do I get better? What do I have to work on? What do I have to improve on? And like being having that as my dad, who I was asking all the time, gets hard because there's really like no escaping it, right? So there were times where we would butt heads and it would be an interesting dynamic, but we would always come back to, I know this is like all coming from a good place. And one memory from my dad being my coach and just like soccer in general from a young age, I remember him just like one day it just got really hard and I was like, I just need you to just stop with the, you know, just stop for right now. This whole ride home. Like, I hear you. I promise I'm being worse to myself in my head. He only coached me until I was about, I think 15, because at that point you're kind of, now you go to academy level and it changes. But I'm just like, I need you to sit back. I totally understand what you're saying, but I'm being worse to myself in my head right now. So just zip it, please. And there were times where he was like, I'm sorry, I don't know. It just, I want the best for you. And I think that's a similar situation with parents. And I see it now at a different level. Again, not to segue too far off, but I'm in my internship now where I'm working with pediatrics. So I'm with parents all the time. And it's a lot of like coming from a good place. I want to help them. I want them to have this best like version of like life for them. I want to fix everything. But like sometimes there are things that you can't fix and things that you can't be the messenger for everything. Like when it comes to coaching, like you have to just maybe be my cheerleader today and leave coaching to the side. But I think it was a beautiful thing now looking back at it. I wouldn't change it for anything. I learned so much and I know it all came from a good place.
Did
But
he
I think
receive it in that moment? Was he able to receive it or was he defensive?
yes,
Oh,
he
good.
was. Because it was my sister and I, so I think like it came from both. So it was just kind of like it's more important to me to have a relationship with you where I can just support you and watch you just enjoy it rather than constantly be harping on things that make you get better. I know you're going to get better and I'll support you in those ways, but it's not going to continue to be so quick. Like, here's all the things we have to fix. Because it's easy for anyone to be like, I saw this, I saw this, I saw this that you have to change, rather than like, I saw this, but you did this well, but you did, have to fix it. It's easy to forget that part.
What was his coaching philosophy? Was he a sandwich? He'd give you good and then the meaty part of what you need to fix, and or was he kind of like he knew how to push you and he pushed you hard? Or
Yeah, I mean, my dad definitely pushed me, and I owe him a lot of what has like made me the person that I am today. So I never felt like it was too much ever. There were times where I was like, oh, just stop. But like, if he didn't say anything, I would feel worse. I want to hear your feedback. Like, and I would say that to him. But he really truly shows me like how to work hard and how to earn things and how to just continue being better and continue to like strive to just be 1% better every day, like literally waking up and beating yourself like from yesterday. And I think that was so important and it stays with me in everything, not just athletics. But I think that his coaching philosophy also like took that route as well because it was always just here's the things we can fix. I can tell you the things you did well, but it was more like we were on the same page of like that's a given. Like what do I have to do better? But I sought that out so much that I kind of forgot also that I needed, a little pick me up too. So sometimes we were rocking on the same wave, but I didn't know that I needed something else. He didn't
mm-hmm.
know either, but we were just trying to do our best. We were both learning together. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I am, again, so
And
grateful
is
for
your
it and you're the
sister
best.
wired differently? Did she need different coaching?
I would say, yeah. My sister and I are different, but I think my sister handles things in different ways, but we bond a lot now about having dad as our coach because he coached both of us because he wasn't ever going to do one thing for one and not the other. So I think that's also really special. We talk now, we're both done playing soccer and we talk now about just how much we miss the image of dad on the
Mm.
sideline and like I just again being at my alma mater yesterday had some emotions flowing. So like I just really miss the whole aspect of like coach and best friend and biggest cheerleader. And my mom, I mean, was right there with him, but she doesn't know as much about soccer that he does. But it was just a really, really special. relationship that both my sister and I got to experience, and I'm just excited to be able to do that one day for my kids, and I know that she it feels the same way too.
And I think you're in a very fairly rarefied air in that, unfortunately, we hear a lot more of the opposite of, when I was writing the book, I had multiple grown adults break down in tears recounting their story, which was 20, 30 years prior, of how painful it was the car ride home, right? And he always wanted the best for me, but he didn't know how to communicate it. So to have a father, what a gift he gave you. Yes, the X's and O's, but far more importantly, how to lead and encourage with love, but limits, and also say, you know what, it might be a little uncomfortable, but I'm doing this for your best interest. And that you knew that was clear to you, that there was never an ulterior motive. It was always
Yeah.
only to help you get better. Beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I really, and I know that parents are listening in, and I value the want to be better for your kids. Like, I think that's just so unbelievable, and I thank you for being here and listening to me. But what I will share is like one of the most prominent memories in my head of my dad, is when I committed, when I signed, when I believe it was just like one day where I was just breaking down, and I'll get more into my story about like my mental health and things like that. But just 3 vivid memories of my dad really just showing that he's a human, the strongest person in my life that I've ever known and got to, just try and emulate in any way, the strongest person ever, right? Just break down in front of me, wanting to be the best version of himself to help me get to the best version of me, and admit to not knowing, like, what to do, but willing to sit and figure it out together. Was like, I didn't know what was gonna happen if I, spoke about my struggles and, like, how he was gonna react, how my mom was gonna react, but, like, and again, not to segue too much, but to have 2 parents that, like, really sat and I mean, especially my dad, just like, "I don't know, but you let me know, and we're gonna do it, and we're gonna figure it out." But then the more positive memories of just the the pride, like, coming over him and, like, really allowing himself to, like, feel that and show that in front of me was, like, just such a beautiful, special memory, and I have a video that I'll never delete, 11 minutes taking up all my storage, but it's awesome. So I really lives rent free in my head.
I love you sharing that, because when I speak with parents, mostly and when I'm teeing it up for the parents, I like to talk about us being a tree. As a parent, you're the tree, and the deeper your roots are into the ground, if you're really lucky and you're an oak tree and your roots go deep, deep, deep in, and then there's an aquifer down there, and that nourishes you. And the wider your base is, the less tumultuous that you're going to be able to bend with the winds and the rain and the snowstorms. There are going to be seasons, that's life for each of us. But the more grounded we can be when our child is going through it, we hopefully don't just bend over and snap. And that's what you see a lot, because we're so emotionally invested, and every single parent only wants what's best for their kid. And so I don't think there's a single parent out there that's misbehaving in things that we see a lot of, going up and hitting a ref, or going up and screaming at the coach, or, cold cocking another parent, or all of this that happens. And you're like, how can somebody get to that place where they're so triggered that they do something so, belittling? But it comes from a place of, not loving yourself, not being able to self-soothe, not being able to separate yourself from your child. And
Mhm.
so, what a beautiful example your parents are, that they wanted to go on the journey with you, but also had the wherewithal and the understanding that this isn't my journey. This is our daughter's journey, and gave you these gifts of, okay, there's going to be times when this is not going to be fun, but that's okay. I'm here alongside you.
Yeah. And I think another thing that sticks out about my parents that I've really noticed, especially in college and just playing competitively for a long time and seeing different dynamics of parents that are all coming from a good place of like, I want to be this support and I want to fix and all these things. And there have been times where my parents are really, my mom especially, like quick to want to fix. And I just sometimes have to be like, I need you to not do that. I don't want you to fix this, but I want you to know that and I've noticed also getting older that sometimes I snap at her and I don't want to. And she's my best friend, but like I don't want to snap, but sometimes it happens and we just got to accept that maybe we got to just sit on opposite sides for a second. But I also do respect and really value the fact that she wants to fix everything, but sometimes we've just got to sit in the problem, break it down, and figure it out together. And honestly, the thing that has helped me the most, and for kids listening to this and dealing with parents, is be honest that like I have no idea what I'm feeling right now, but I know I'm not 100%, and I don't want to take that out on you. And just being honest in the state that you're at, and vice versa for parents too. If you're having a hard day, and the world is getting to you, life is getting to you, and you don't want to take it out on your kid, just be honest and have an open conversation. And I think that things can't get lost in translation like that. And I have learned to take a step back and speak like that now, especially moving home after being at college
Oh,
for 4 years.
I love that advice. And parents, I think, and athletes listening, because our knee jerk reaction is to fix, fix, fix. And particularly, I agree with you. Women tend to, my daughter's in pain. I need to help her get out of it. And you're absolutely right. And sometimes we don't want our pain fixed. We just want to be heard.
Hmm.
And so I love, the coaching that I've received that I love, which is the question that you can ask your child or even ask your mom is, I hear you're upset. Would you like my opinion or do you just want me to listen? And then that's great. Then they can decide, no, you know what? I just need you to listen. I just had a really rough day and I just need to vent. Okay,
Yeah.
right? But what we do is we hear problem, 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 and we think, oh, great, I have solutions. She wants a solution. And a lot of times we don't want a solution. We just want to get it off our chest.
Yeah, exactly. And that goes into kind of what I'm learning in school now too. So I'm in my master's for mental health counseling, and it has been amazing. It took a long time to get to this decision to be here and to go to this school, but I basically started in undergrad as a pre-PT exercise science major. I thought that's what I wanted to do. The more that I got involved with things like Morgan's Message, things like Strong Girls, I was like, no, I need to be having relationships with people. I see myself, it just, I wanted to be, it came over my head. I'm like, this is it. Psychology is my route. I'm good with going to more school and I enjoy school. So school has been great. I went from Manhattan to LIU. Now I'm at LIU for my master's in mental health counseling. I started my
Long
internship.
Island University, right? Long Island
Yeah.
University? Yes. Okay.
And I am now interning at Northwell as a behavioral health intern, and it's been amazing to see. I think I'm a good listener. I think I know what to say until I'm sitting in front of someone telling me their story, and I'm really putting things to the test because I'm experiencing that I want to fix. This is what I've been craving for my entire as soon as I was like, okay, psychology, I think I could really I could be a great therapist. I want to work with athletes. I want to work with teams. I want to do all these things. And I've been very passionate. And sometimes passion can make us go right too quick, right to things. Taking a step back and realizing that I need to hear, I need to listen, I need to digest. This is their time. Just because I hear things that I think I might have solutions to, I have to wait, let them finish their thought, and then say what I think will help them in that moment in the best way. Because I think while we're listening and trying to be active listeners, we can't interrupt with that first thought. You have to just wait. But if you're thinking about that thought that I want to ask, I really want to ask you this question, it's replaying in my head so I don't forget it. Well, what did they say for the last 25 seconds? Like, you've missed that. So it's very interesting now to see these things in practice, which I'm learning so much about what kind of therapist I want to be, one, and then also how I listen, how I respond, and how I handle these situations, which I was always so very, I never, they might not even know what they're feeling. We got to figure it out together. So it's really practicing what I preach recently, which is really fun, but definitely
Active
interesting.
listening is hard. Yes. So was there a moment or moments in your soccer career that were struggles for you mentally that then helped you realize, okay, it's not physical therapy, it's actually psychology?
Yeah, I think that so my story basically starts in high school. World shuts down, COVID happens. I am committed to go play Division I soccer at Manhattan College. I am ecstatic. This has been the goal. And I saw a lot of teammates of mine commit and then start to kind of stop working hard. And I was like, well, you have to work harder now. And that's kind of what I was wired. I was like, no, I'm going to use this time. The world is shut down. I'm going to be productive. I'm a very numbers driven person, stats driven person. I am very structured. Not having structure in my day in the world was
Mm.
very alarming to me. And I was grasping at anything that I can control. So I was like, I'm going to lose some weight, get faster, and put on some muscle, and I'm going to be this unrecognizable athlete when I walk onto that field. They're not going to even know. Like, I'm going to come different, all those things. I was very excited. It was all with really great intention, but I soon realized that, there's a formula to losing weight. Burn more calories than you take in, and I just was going, falling down a rabbit hole of just every day. That's what I looked forward to. Like, I wanted to get out there, run, do foot skills in the backyard, do anything I could that wasn't staying within the four walls of my room. And that was also helping me get better, get faster. I was never very fast, honestly, growing up. I was strong, but I was never that fast. So doing this, I didn't even get that much faster. I lost a ton of weight. I lost all my muscle, and we were all confined to our homes. So I would just wear baggy clothes, and like no one kind of realized what was happening to me, and I didn't either. I was in a complete trance. I have control over this thing. I get to
Mm.
know exactly how many calories are going into my body, and I know how many are going out. And it really, I didn't even realize when it got to a point where all the control I had is actually out the window. Like, I've lost control. It is 100% just, it became a routine. I fell down a rabbit hole, and I just became unrecognizable in a different way that I didn't want to be. But then I still couldn't shake. It's one of those moments where we know we're doing something wrong and we know that there's something to fix. And if a friend was standing in front of me in that time with these same things happening at that same weight, doing the same things, like hurting themselves that way every day, I would do everything in my power to make them realize, like, we have to change something right now, or something bad's gonna happen. So that happened in high school. I went on to I got a call from a coach actually that was crying on the phone. Like, he didn't start crying, but I hadn't had contact with him for a while. He saw my committed post, my signing post, and I was very, very thin. And he took it upon himself to call and reach out, just asked, "Hey, how's everything going? I saw a picture of you. I just wanted to see if you were okay." Not giving specifics of anything. And my parents at this point had been begging me, "Nikki, we have to do something. Like, we need to change something." It's so easy to ignore your parents. Like, it is just so easy to be like, you don't know. None of my friends saw me. I wasn't with people. My family was I was hearing it from people that I just could ignore.
So you weren't
And
playing any soccer. You weren't even allowed to be out on the field or anything.
yeah, it
No.
was,
Over what period of time did you lose all this weight?
I would say it was pretty rapid, like the initial. So I've never been 110 pounds in my life, and I was 110 pounds at this point. And for me, that's very, very, very low. I mean, not an ounce of muscle was on my body. And
How tall are
again,
you?
like, my strong suit my whole life has been to be strong. And I didn't realize I was losing the best thing that I had, like, in terms of being, a good athlete and kind of why I got to this point anyway. But um, I would say that it was like over the course of, it's like a blur now. It just feels like strange to think about. But it was pretty quick, and then it just kind of continued, I would say, for like a year to almost a year and a half, where I kind of thought I had a handle on it and I didn't, and it was just really back and forth and high highs and low lows. Um, so
Was
I
this
think
coach's
that
call a wake up call?
yes, so coach's call was 100% like, wow, this person that I haven't heard from in a while, really valued his opinion, is calling me to tell me that he's worried. And this grown man who I respected so much, taught me so much, was crying on the other line. And I just was like, wow, I'm doing something that's now impacting other people. Like, do I have to really take a long look in the mirror? And I had that call, and I am so grateful because I think it would have taken a lot more for me to really like snap out of it if I didn't have that call. And then I just kind of remember my dad was doing work in his office, and I just was like, I don't know. I don't know what to do, but I know I got to do something. So can you help me? And both my parents, of course, were like, yeah, we're ready to help you because we want this to be the way that it changes. So I actually ended up in the ER for I just was there was some days stretch of not treating myself very well, and I remember being in the bathroom and like my head getting really foggy and I really couldn't see, and I was just like going in and out of just kind of like blacking out, seeing stars. And my parents didn't know what to do and they called the ambulance. We went to the hospital, and I just remember hearing a doctor come in and was like, clinic, inpatient, eating disorder. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who you're
Mm,
talking about either, because it's not me.
mm,
I'm not
wow.
disordered in any way. I don't know what you're talking about. I've got somewhere to be. I've got to be in college in a year. Like, I don't know where you think I'm going. So that was for me, um, like either you can do this with people's help or you can just go and where your soccer's gone. So it was that like decision to be made. And I think that it's interesting because I don't know how many people that works for, right? I think it was a special situation, and I think a lot of athletes that have similar mindsets can really take a step back and be like, all right, it's this or it's that. It's a new goal to work towards. And that's how I had to think about it. So I, with the help of my parents, just got to a lot healthier of a place, just knowing that everything that I had aimed for, it went complete 180. We have to start fresh, but we have to just keep moving forward. It was just like, there were days where I was like really sucked back into it. And I think the highs and the lows, it is going to happen with anything. But that just sparked something in me that was like, this can't be just a terrible 2 years. It has to be something else. So like during those 2 years, it was my junior and senior year of high school that I feel like I can't recall many things from,
Mm.
honestly. So it's really sad to me. And I think that that was also a driving force of like, I don't want another moment to be wasted on anything. So I think like,
What's interesting too is like when you hear about eating disorders, a lot of times it's about how I want to look skinny. I want to look as, and to me, that doesn't sound like that was your motivation. It was performance driven that you said, I
mhm.
want to be the best version of myself. I got the offer. Now I got to deliver on the offer. And that I've been told I was slow. So here you are coming at it from an athlete standpoint, not about your IG posts and about how it's going to look to whoever sees you, right?
I will say that was definitely the way that it started. It was all with great intention, but then you kind of start hearing things started working quickly, things started changing, comments were comments were being made by what people saw and was like, "Oh, you look, what are you doing? Oh my God, you're so skinny, you're
Yeah.
losing so much weight." I'm like, well, one, I didn't know like there was that much weight to lose, that this many people are saying it. And then that kind of fed into like, I like this feeling, and like you
Mm.
get addicted to that. And I was on Instagram watching what I eat in a day is of 1,200 calories like it's normal. And I think if I could remove anything from social media for anyone, but specifically for young girls. I would remove anything calorie intake at all or body, this is what I'm supposed to look like, away from
Mm.
their algorithms and literally toss garbage. And no one should be looking at that. You and I can eat the exact same thing, work out the exact same amount, and we will look completely different. And I was just trying to find anyone who looked like someone I would like maybe like to look like. And if they had a what I eat in a day video, next day I was following it. It was very, it took a turn that I didn't
Yeah.
want it to take.
Okay.
It was all very from a good place in the beginning, and then it got very just not what I wanted it to be, but I didn't realize it because at that point it was like kind of changing the idea. It's like, oh, but I can also do this. I can also change this.
Well, and to your point,
So
you went from having a very busy, active, out of your bedroom life to now you're not leaving your bedroom or you're not leaving your house, right? So you've got a lot more time to do this, which then that gets you into that rabbit hole that, and you start off with good intentions about performance and then you get validation that
yeah,
this is the right way to go. And then you find others that are doing it. So I'm not the only one. Like it is a very fascinating, and that's what they're finding about all of these meta and, that's the algorithm. Like that's
yeah,
exactly what they want because the more clicks, the more shares, the more, like, and even if it's negative, that's not what they're there for. They're there for you being on that phone as many hours a day as possible.
right. And it was just being honest with myself is like I needed to stop looking at that and I had to just look forward to this goal again. Like I want to be healthy enough to play in college where this is what I've been working towards. So it was very just keep your head going forward, stop looking at what happened. All right, we made mistakes.
So
And it
did
was
you
just
do
trying to.
inpatient or did you handle this all from home on your own?
So I never went to inpatient. I was very scared, honestly. And any option that I had would go into preseason, honestly. So there was like a really tight window of like getting it together. And I was just constantly proving that I could do it. And there was definitely a time where I don't think I addressed it in the point of like, I know this is unhealthy and I have to fix it. It was more like, I'm not going there. I'm going here. I will eat to fuel and get there. And that's what it's going to be. But if that's what kept me healthy, then like, I'll take that. Um, but I think that's kind of it was supplemented for a while, but I actually had a very interesting experience with in that day of like just distraught, like I have to make a change. I called someone to just get into therapy and I had a therapist on the phone who was very dismissive of what I was saying. And I was amazed by this
Hmm.
experience. And I was like, this person, I'm trying so hard to do something that's very, very hard for me because I didn't want to admit to anything that was happening. I was like, this is not real. But I was like, if this is what I have to do, I'll do it. And I made this call and she was like, before I could even say what I wanted to say, and it was like, I called and I was like, this is what I'm experiencing. This is what I have to do. And it was like just word vomit. And she was like, I need to talk to you about the way you're paying for services. Before I even got to sit, and I get it. This is going to be my livelihood. So I get you have to make money. But there is some, I don't know, a different approach that could have happened there. It really stuck with me though. And I didn't know at that point that I would even like be interested in being a therapist in the future, but that stuck with me. So now I'm in college and I
Sorry,
was
one more
like,
second. Can you
yes,
explain? Did you end up telling the coaching staff? Like, did they know then you going into Manhattan College that you'd been struggling with this, or no?
no. I did not. They ended up finding out later on. I have a really great relationship with my coach. I was so lucky to have the coaches that I did in
Okay.
college, honestly. And I ended up confiding in them later on. Freshman year, how I got involved with the nonprofits and just this space. I remember it. We were in a personal wellness class. I wrote about I just took a chance on writing about this. I was like, I don't know. There's 20 people that I got to share this with. If it works out, great, then great. I shared. And I had someone come up to me, a lacrosse player who knew of Morgan's message, and was like, "You need to submit this. You have to write for their blog. This is great. Like you have to share this. People need to hear it." And I was like, "I don't know if I want to do that." Um, the professor who I still have a great relationship with today was also very supportive of, if this is something you want to do, I think you should really think about it. So I went ahead and submitted it, and I got such an overwhelming amount of support from people I didn't think I was going to
Mm.
get support from. And it was very, I took it as like, this is going to hold me accountable. I've shared now. People know that this happened to me, and I need to make sure it doesn't happen again. So again, in my mind of this competitive athlete, this image that I have to keep, right? I want to make sure I don't get there, but I don't want it to just be 2 years that was terrible. I want to make something out of it, and I want to now help people. So I put this out. I get people Instagram DMing me, people I've known that I didn't know even were experiencing things similar to me,
Mm.
are confiding in me. Thank you so much for sharing this. I'm experiencing really similar things. Um, Teammates I used to play with, other coaches that I've had, family members, people in my school, people I don't even know. And I'm like, this is incredible. This is so exciting. But it was also very like, I don't have it together though, but I'm going to put my best foot forward, right? So I was very honest when I was talking about these things, and I'll be honest now, like I don't have it together. I'm learning all the time. The highs and lows come and go, right? I would love to continue, well, I am continuing to build a healthy relationship with my body, with food. But the more that I help people is the more that I'm helping myself, honestly. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing because in a way, it's holding me accountable, yes, but and that has a negative connotation to it, and I don't want to hold it to that. But honestly, things like this will make me be better tomorrow because look at what I just shared. I want people to hear this and say, all right, we have a community now, and that's why Strong Girls to me is so important. It's my community to set an example and to have people follow in my footsteps. Don't follow my blueprint. Your
Hmm.
blueprint is yours. You have to have a different experience, but just the example of this person is getting through and is being vulnerable and is talking about the good times and the bad times, because there's going to happen for everyone, but sharing and confiding in people just makes you stronger. And for so long, I thought that it was going to just make me weak, and we hear that a lot now, and I'm glad that we're talking about it more, but it's really true that confiding in people and finding people that have similar struggles to you makes things feel more human. Because I thought I was just, I'm like, is there something wrong with me? Am I just, why can't I just fix this? Why can't I just, and a lot of people would ask, like, why can't you just eat? I'm like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so, so many layers. It's just, but
But
yeah,
it's so
sharing
beautiful.
helps me.
You're right in that. Thank you for being so vulnerable because that, I know there are people out there and people that are listening to this that may be struggling with that or see a friend or a family member struggling with this. And when you name it, you can tame it. If you don't name it, if you don't even, like you said, you were in it and didn't realize it to that
Yeah.
degree. And everybody from the outside, you're like, oh, duh, like, of course that's going on. But when we're in a, a stressful situation, the cortisol's flooding the brain, we can't think clearly. Stress makes us
Mhm.
stupid. And when we're in a moment of really wanting something, then yeah, sometimes our natural state is what can I control? And if I can control this, then I'll get everything I want. Not realizing that that locking in that control is actually what's, constricting you to the point of not only not getting what you want, but potentially doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you get through, you play for Manhattan College for how many seasons?
So I played for 4 years, and they were a great 4 years. I had a lot of experiences to share about playing and culture and being on. I can rave all day long about my senior year of college. And I think it really is a testament to work hard, just accept what's thrown at you, always stay focused and accepting of outside sort things that you can't control, and always stay focused on like what you can control, right? So I came into Manhattan as a freshman. I was a midfielder, and just that is a tough position to get playing time in anyway. I gave it all my all. I asked questions. My coach makes jokes. He made a joke yesterday. I walked in on a meeting. They were having film before the game that I was watching yesterday. He said, "Nick, what a great time for you to walk in." He introduces me to the freshman on the team and says, "This is Nikki. She spent every day for 4 years in here with us watching film." But that is true. I just always wanted to know, like, since I was younger with my dad as well, like, just what can I do to get better? And that's such an important thing for athletes to have, but also just constantly reminding yourself that s- your sport is not forever. If you go pro, kudos to you. I am so proud. I think that's unbelievable. For me, I knew it was 4 years, and I just came off of 2 years where wasted. I was living in just like day to day, and I really didn't want college to be that way. And it's easy to say now after being done with the 4 years. I think my first 2 years, even my third year, was tough. Like you get caught up in the wanting to be this perfect player, wanting to score more goals, play more minutes, just all the things that we are wired to want. And I think that's what makes us great. That's what makes us, determined and leaders and special individuals. Keep those traits, but do not let it be the only thing about you. Because I think that I had days, months, seasons where it was, right? So freshman year was getting acclimated, changed my major, uh, to education. No, exercise science general, then to education, then to psychology. So you don't have to have it figured out. My coach will also joke about that. Because I did not. And it required me to make all those steps to get to where I was. Anyway, sophomore year was a little bit more up and down with minutes. Junior year was as well. In terms of education, I just kind of was trying to find my niche. Ended up landing on psychology my spring of my sophomore year, so a year and a half of gen ed stuff and exercise science mostly classes that I had some advisors that helped me out that got everything transferred into psychology. Somehow pulled off graduating in 3 years. So graduated in 3 years with my bachelor's, started my master's up for my senior year. So my senior year, I was playing my senior year of soccer,
Mm.
and I was studying in my master's program at Manhattan. So my junior year, playing wise, I again just every day, as much as I could ask, as much as my coach would tell me, I would take it, digest it, do my best. Junior year was hard because what I've really come to notice, and I'll tell any player that comes across my way, you cannot control the amount of time that you're getting. You can only control your attitude and the things you do to put you in the best possible position to reach that outcome. I will forever be grateful for the attitude that I had and the work that I put in for all 3 years. And I was still playing. I'm very grateful. Like, there were some people that weren't, and I think that I was in a good spot, but it was just, you always wanted more. And that's good. That drives you to be better. But I really just continued to keep my head down and do as much as I could. My junior year, last game of my season, we played Quinnipiac, and I'll never forget it. It was honestly one of the craziest games of my life. They were undefeated. They had not lost for, I don't even know what the number was. It was a crazy amount of games. And I was a midfielder, sometimes a forward, I don't even know. And I was just, the day before the game, I just want a shot. I stayed and did shooting practice after. And then the day of the game, I'll never forget, my coach was like, "All right, come on. 15 minutes left in the first half." And I was like, all right, let's do this. And it was like the second or third play, a cross comes in, and I just volleyed it. And I turn around and it's in the goal, and everyone is screaming. And we're just like, we're, I think we were tied at that point. So it's 1-1 ending the half. And I'm like, what just happened? Like, that just made the entire season worth it. it's little moments, and it all is going to click in some way. It might not be like a specific moment like that, but that was the turning point for me of like, it was all necessary to get there. We ended up tying, which to us was a win against them, and then to them, it was like a 5-0 loss. So, I mean, we
Yeah.
I mean, sorry to anyone from Quinnipiac watching this. You all are great athletes. You have a great program, but like, it was just awesome, right? So
Yeah.
that kind of segued into my senior year where the culture of this team, I could have not played a minute on that team, honestly, of the whole season, and it would have been such a special year. The energy in the locker room before games and like just the wanting to lift everybody up, and I just kind of got the chance to really just be present, and I'm so glad that I did, because I had a senior year of high school that passed me by that I can't even tell you anything about, versus a senior year of college, which I left the game loving the game so much, and so many people leave it kind of just being burnt out and hating it. And I'm so grateful for the things that I got to do and the experiences, the highs and the lows that I had to go through to get me there, because I'm a better person for it. And I set an example to whoever wants to take it of, the journey that I I would wish my journey on anyone, because it's fulfilling and it was worth it, and I left a better person. So that's my spiel about college soccer.
It is cliche, but the saying everything happens for a reason. But I do believe that there are certain things that we go through in life that test us, that push us, that are challenging us. And I personally like to look at it as it's testing you to see, do you want this? And if we look at it that way and you do want it, then what are you willing to do to get there? And then when you get to the other side of it, yeah, sometimes you get the hat trick or the goal at the end and you get to walk away, with the win. And that's beautiful. But most of us have some, actually 99% of teams walk away with a loss. They end their season with a loss, right? Like there's only one team every year that gets to win the national championship. So
Yeah.
it's pretty rarefied air. But if your values are around your experience and your leadership experience and your teammates and your learning, and look how beautiful that all of that, as you said, and I completely agree, life is about wayfinding, and you've got to try different things in order to see if this is a fit for you. So you're trying on different hats to decide. And by the way, you may change hats a couple more times, right? Like
Yeah.
that's part of the journey as you get married or have children, or you'll go through different stages and different doors. But to me, that's also kind of like, I can't think of anything more boring than for somebody to be able to, like, well, in Kirsten, 5 years you'll be doing exactly what you're doing right now, like,
Yeah.
like that to me is death. Like I like change, I like the adversity, I like not knowing what's next. And how beautiful, like, let's pivot a little bit to now where you're working with adolescents and understanding you get to be on the other side. Okay, maybe you're not a parent yet, but you're through your athletic journey, or your competitive athletic journey. You're going to be an athlete for life, of course, but
Yeah.
competitive athletic journey. Like, how are you now, I'm sure, already using all of those tools that you got to experience? And like you said, even the phone call with the woman who was, wow, not very compassionate for somebody going through something, that was a big lesson. That was a gift, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
wow. I realize when I show up for others, I'm going to lead with compassion.
Yeah, definitely. And I didn't know it then, but I look back at it now and I'm kind of like, thank you for showing me what not to do. We can learn something from every single experience, every single day. And that sticks with me because every time I pick up a phone as an intern, I'm very aware of it, kind of like plays in the back of my head, right? So I'm thankful for it now. Then I was not. But I think now where I'm at and working for Strong Girls and having grown with them while I was growing so much as a person within 4 years seems so short. I mean, now it feels very short, but in it, it felt so long and it was so much to learn. And Morgan's message in Strong Girls, I learned so much from my involvement with them. And all I wanted to do was stay in this space. I wanted to keep growing with them. And I think that,
Maybe, sorry, you can quickly, just for people who don't know about Morgan's Message, get a little plug for both Morgan's Message and Strong Girls
yes,
United. Explain
of
what they are.
course.
Yeah.
So, Morgan's Message is a nonprofit organization in honor of Morgan Rogers, who was a Duke lacrosse player who unfortunately took her life while playing collegiately. And they are just all things mental health awareness, resources. They also have a podcast. They are an incredible organization that I have learned so much from. And I think all of this started with them. So, definitely go check them out. They are incredible, incredible people. Mrs. Rogers, I adore her. She's an amazing woman, and I am lucky to have played a role in the organization. And now I continue to, just in a different way, but an amazing organization, as well as Strong Girls United, which I can proudly say is now my home, and that's very exciting. And I started as a mentor with them in their mentor program. I had a mentee that I also got to grow with for a few years. She was incredible. And I then got onto the mental health advisory board where I got to meet you and
Mhm.
work there. And then now I am a Vista through AmeriCorps for Strong Girls. And my primary role with Strong Girls is helping with the marathon teams and really focusing on people's why and why they're running for Strong Girls and why our values align and why they want to be an example for young female athletes, why this organization makes sense for them to raise all this money for and run for and hit this bucket list item in honor of. Such a beautiful thing, and it really kind of ties a beautiful bow into what I'm doing in the long term professionally and in school and in soccer and in life is like that why factor. And I think that so much of what Strong Girls does is really make young female athletes aware of their why and not lose sight of it. And I think that one of my favorite parts of what I do with these marathon runners is all our whys are so different, and I get to hear people's story and really try to amplify it in ways that, they can help the organization, but in ways that we can help them. And it's a really beautiful experience, and the organization is growing every day, and I'm so excited for where this is going to go. I mean, it's not just in Maine already, but we are going to be everywhere. I know it, and I think that our programming and the people involved are just helping it become better every single day. These great people, like-minded people that have great ideas. It's worth checking out, worth seeing ways that you can get involved. If you want to run a marathon, let me know and we can get it set up, right? So
You're
I just
right.
have
Yeah.
loved, yeah, it's whoever wants, let me know.
I think having a
I
goal
loved
is
it.
always great, whether it's a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, whatever your distance is. But I think some great advice I got too when I was a young mom was, I was like, oh, I can't go volunteer a bunch of hours. But what I loved about doing whatever, a 10K and being able to donate to a cause that you believed in, it was a win-win. Like I get to go train with my girlfriends and friends and get in shape, and I get to give back in a way that's helping others. And that's what I love what Strong Girls United messages. And I just was on the call with Lonnie last week, and she's giving me the tour on her laptop of the
Yeah.
beautiful facilities and how, now it's going to be this hangout place and this community place where people, kids can go after school, and a safe place to go do your homework and go work out and get a fresh fruit smoothie. And, that's what we need. I think more places where you can feel safe to share and to be yourself.
Yeah, and I mean emphasis on the united part because anyone can get involved with Strong Girls United, and it's that thought of we are all connected in some way, and there's so much beauty in that and that belonging, that piece of like we can be playing different sports. We could be playing the same sport, or we cannot be playing sports, but you are strong in other ways as well. It's not only through athletics, but I just think what's happening right now with the organization is so special, especially with the, and I'll harp on the marathons just because that's what I'm closely related to, is just there are people of all different training backgrounds that are doing this extremely hard thing, and I am inspired by them every single day. I've done two halves. I'm going to do a third. I think after the third, I'll approach the marathon, but I am just in awe of them, honestly, every day, and hearing what got them here, and just again that why piece, and everyone's why being different also unites us because we're all just, taking down a layer and learning things about each other, and it's just a really beautiful thing that I'm just grateful to be a part of.
Yes. When we are willing to say what is possible if I put my mind to something, it is amazing. Because I remember thinking, as a fast twitch sport girl, volleyball player, basketball player, I'm like, a marathon? What are you kidding me? But then when I was at Nike, it was like, oh, I've got an hour for lunch. Okay, I'll go out for a 30-minute run. It became the easiest thing to do when you were traveling for work, and then it kind of became, oh, this is something we can do together. And then Nike started sponsoring the women's marathon. I'm like, well, I want a Tiffany necklace. I'm going to go do that with all of my girlfriends. Like, duh, and a weekend in San Francisco, that's a no-brainer, right? So, and there are different reasons that we have to do it, but as you go through and grow and be able to be connected to community, it's a really beautiful thing. Maybe we could end with, two things. One, maybe some parting advice. Thank you so much for sharing your journey, and it's just getting started, right? And it's so impactful already, and I know your message will change lives, will be, gosh, I needed to hear that today. And maybe it's not about food for them, maybe it's about something else, but we all have different things that come in and out of our lives that change us. And so thank you so much for sharing that. What advice would you have for somebody who's going through something like this right now?
Thank you. I think that my biggest piece of advice, and I like this question because now I'm trying not to have my clinical brain on. I'm really just trying to be a person that is chatting with you and just trying to be a friend, is really just being someone that has had a lot of things, like, and I know I said this a couple times, it's just like things are really wiped from my memory because of how caught up I was on like tomorrow, or how to how to improve, how to be better, how to make more out of what I was doing. Is like, okay, but we're right here right now. Things are happening around us and we have to be cognizant of that. And my biggest piece of advice is if you see your or you hear your brain kind of start rallying up and it's going too fast for your liking, take the second, ground yourself, really remember where you are, and realize that today is today. Tomorrow is a fresh start every single day, every hour if you wanted to make it that. It's really about the way that you're looking at your time and your experiences and making sure that even if it's harder to look for the good stuff, you still make the effort to find it. My roommates and I had a long list of our happiness things of the day, and we would literally write something every single day. Again, why senior year was so great is just we would write the smallest thing. I think one day it was just the sun was out and like that was it. That was all we can find. But you know what? That's a beautiful thing because on those rainy days where you wish the sun was out, there we go. We can refer back. But I really just think ground yourself, take a minute to find the good, and just be grateful for what you've got. And yeah, just remind yourself that you
Stillness
have
is
to
the
be where
key.
your feet are.
Yeah, yeah, and that's hard to do when you're pushing, and when you're a peak performer, you're an athlete, you have goals, you've been told all your life, come on, come on, come on, you're behind, you got to catch up, and they're doing this and they're working harder. And so how do you center yourself and take care of yourself and show self-love and self-compassion when the big message that you're getting for sure from everything online, and probably from a lot of coaches and teachers, is you can't afford to take a day off, you can't afford to have a break, you can't afford to pause. And sometimes that's really what you need to do, and that's
Yep.
sometimes hard to admit. But I'm so grateful that you did, and that you were able and brave enough to. Thank you for that, coach, and thank you to the parents who your parents who received the message and said, let's go get you help, right?
Yeah.
And that you were say, hey, this is a time for me to pivot and learn, and you will for sure impact lives based on your why, which is amazing. So let's finish
Thank you.
by how I like to ask all of my guests, and you can answer it with a word or a phrase or a whole paragraph if you want. But how would you finish this sentence? The best athletes I know do this.
The best athletes I know make every practice, every game, every competition, whatever it might be for your sport, something worth being at. Just add value other than the result and the time that you're playing, all the things that are out of our control. is just they add value when it's kind of hard to find pretty obviously. It's always there.
Yeah, love it. Yes, being where your feet are, as you said, which I love, and being present in the moment and enjoying this moment comes back to gratitude and being grateful that you get to be a D1 athlete, get to be a high school athlete, get to be a
Yep.
middle school athlete. It doesn't matter. The level doesn't matter. It's how you decide to show up.
Yep, 100%. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. I really appreciate
Oh,
it.
yay. You're so welcome. It was so lovely to spend more time with you. Normally, we're in a big
Yes.
group. So, this is lovely to hear your story. And thank you again for being so vulnerable. It's, a lot of people keep it bottled up. And I agree. I think when you share it, then it's now it's now for everybody. And you also, you get to reap the benefits of that, which are people are going to reach out to you and say, I see you. And you helped me, and what a beautiful gift to be able to do that for other people.
Thank you.
So parents, athletes, clinicians, psychologists, authors, anyone who's listening, please like, share, follow. Where can people find you?
You can follow me on Instagram, NikkiFit22. And then you can also follow Strong Girls United. You'll see a lot of content on there too.
There we go. Or on LinkedIn, right?
Oh yes, LinkedIn, Nicolette Caneda.
There we go. Okay.
Thank you so much.
There we go. Yes, you're so welcome. Everyone, let's do this.